Hi, I'm Eric Lenask. We're here in Santa Clara at our Editor's Day. With me on the program now from SMC is Varun Nagaraj. Varun, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having us over. Really appreciate it.
So we want to talk IoT, but one of the things we always like to talk about how the market is evolving and whatnot. I think one of the interesting parts of the evolution of IoT is a term or a part of the market that we're starting to hear more and more about, and a term that was becoming more and more used is the industrial Internet of Things. What's your take on that?
Well, glad you asked. It is common for most people to associate IoT with, your Fitbits and your Nest thermostats and everything that people think about. But I frankly am far more interested in and excited about what I think is the real part of IoT. Not all the fun and game stuff, the real business of IoT. And that's really the industrial IoT. So what's in it? So the question is, what kinds of products or devices are part of the industrial IoT, and how is that different from those products or devices that are part of the consumer IoT?
Right.
So when you're looking at the industrial IoT, we're really talking about the unsung heroes. We're talking about the building automation controllers, the lighting controllers, the sprinkler controllers being used in agricultural, the fire and gas detection systems, the things that are hidden behind the scenes, something that consumers don't interact with. But these are machines that have voice. They have information to share with each other, and frankly, the more they can share with each other, the better decisions that they collectively can make on behalf of a facility or an industrial type of environment. So that's really what the industrial Internet of Things is. It's a collection of devices that may or may not have had voice before, being able to speak with each other and make the collective more intelligent, being able to speak with sort of central management systems that are managing the facility, and frankly, being able to connect to the cloud for deep analytics and insights, and frankly, higher efficiencies over time.
How you mentioned the cloud and being able to gain insights into how the system is working. How does it all work together?
That's a great question. The first thing to remember about the industrial IoT, which many folks who follow the IoT may not be aware of this, is that the total number of languages spoken in the industrial IoT space is a huge number. In the IoT space, in the traditional IoT space with your Fitbits, you sort of assume, well, if you can get onto a Wi-Fi network or a Bluetooth network, it all kind of works out.
Sure.
But that takes a relatively limited view, meaning your Nest thermostat is not necessarily looking to talk to your Fitbit watch, right? However, in the industrial IoT space, you have a need for these different products built by different OEMs. And there are hundreds of people who build industrial products and have for many years. There's a need for these guys to talk to each other. So the first thing about the IoT is to remember that these products are really speaking different languages. So the first thing you need when you're putting a whole system together is really a protocol translator or a gateway. It's kind of like the Babel fish from A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that translates between one type of language and the other. So that's really step one, a protocol gateway that translates things from one to the other. But that protocol gateway is also the perfect segue or an on-ramp onto the cloud. So you can imagine the various kinds of OEM devices that are connected to the protocol gateway, helping them speak to other devices. But these OEMs also want to know what's going on with their product. They want visibility and insight into their product. But yet these products are hidden behind walls and in ceilings and so forth. But they are all talking to the protocol gateway. So it's a perfect opportunity for companies that provide protocol gateways to also extend that to be the on-ramp into the cloud. And that's how you get devices and device information off of the industrial or facilities environment, sharing their information not just with each other, but with some sort of a central repository. And then one can go to work with all of the fancy analytics and visualization tools that we all get so excited about.
So tell me, how does SMC play into this space?
That's a good question, Eric. So we've always been a very, very strong player in the protocol gateway space. So one of our core businesses at Sierra Monitor is being the company that connects and enables the industrial Internet of Things. So we have protocol gateways that speak more than 150 languages. So we can pretty much make anything talk to anything else. So what we are now doing is realizing that that's a very, very good and a strategic vantage point. And from there is a perfect launch pad into the cloud. So we're going to be introducing and bringing to market something we call the SMC Device Cloud. The SMC Device Cloud is a point of presence. If you remember back to the internet service provider days, there's a concept of a POP. A POP was a place where things from the field got together. So now what we're talking about are these protocol gateways that might be scattered across the planet, all essentially speaking back to a central cloud authority, if you will, registering themselves, sharing their information back, getting their latest firmware upgrades. And that central authority, or that point of presence, is what we're bringing to market as our device cloud. So that essentially represents the nexus of all this field data coming in. Now, once it's in our cloud, once it's in the field POP, we will then be in a position to share that with the various analytics and various application clouds that exist. So we see ourselves as being extremely strategic and complementary to the big cloud guys. So if you take a look at Salesforce or Google or Microsoft with Azure or PTC ThingWorks, these are great companies, or Oracle and SAP. These are great companies that are evolving their platforms to take care of the IoT. In their view, the devices, the smart connected products, are an extension to a customer record or an extension to a product record. And that is absolutely the right view. But the last thing you want is for customers to try and figure out how to take a Salesforce cloud, a Google cloud, and make it talk to thousands and thousands of devices speaking hundreds and hundreds of languages scattered across thousands and thousands of sites. That is ugly, dirty work, and I like to pride ourselves that we do the ugly, dirty work better than anybody else. That's what our cloud is going to be doing, and from there, we'll be presenting a nice, clean interface for these other clouds to pick up the field data that they so want in order to get to work. So I think we've figured out a way of adding value into the cloud ecosystem and hopefully partnering with these larger companies with something unique.
And I imagine it's going to be even more critical to have that capability as the number of devices on these networks continues to grow. We have more and more data being exchanged, more and more systems, more and more devices communicating, trying to communicate with one another.
Absolutely. Metcalf was right? The value of a network grows with the number of devices that are connected to it. And that's how I see it with the IIoT. I mean, you look at the forecast for the IoT, and I think all analysts, no matter what their pet number might be, 20 billion, 50 billion, whatever that number might be, will basically forecast that the largest chunk of it that they expect are going to be these unsung heroes, these smart connected devices that you don't normally think about, but which really keep our planet humming.
Fantastic. Varun, thanks for joining us here. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having us, and looking forward to working more with you guys.
Excellent.